let's talk about the question 1 first. So question 1 is, after having read through, so what we learn about how to diminish the effects of bad past karma is the example of lump of salt. So how would be your lump of salt, it's a simile of your bad past karma, right? So to dilute your bad past karma, you would to cultivate more good karma, which is putting into either a cup of water or a river.
Put your good karma into a cup of water?
So your good karma will only be a cup of water. So if you cultivate more good karma, then your cup of water will enlarge, become a river or sea, ocean. So that's one of the way how you could diminish the effects of bad past karma. Regarding question 2, what is the basic principle governing the ability to diminish the effects of bad past karma? So this is more relating to the ability. So what kind of ability should we have that we can diminish the effects? So one of it will be what we have discussed on the previous sutta, which is we have to develop in body, virtuous behavior, mind and wisdom. So these 3 are the very simple, basic principle. To further explain that, so in body you'll be sila. So it will be no killing, no stealing, and no sexual misconduct.
Is it found in the sutta?
No.
Apparently. I said don't add spices. Just tell me what is in the sutta.
Then that's all from us.
Okay, thank you.
The first question is, what can we learn about how to diminish the effect of bad past karma? Our team feels that it is to lead a spiritual life, and then we'll be safe from hell and end suffering. So the evidence in the sutta is when a person creates karma that is to be experienced in a particular way, he experiences its results precisely in that way. In such a case, the living of the spiritual life is possible and an opportunity is seen for completely making an end of suffering. Yeah, that is the first question's answer.
Okay, thank you.
For the second question, what is the basic principle governing the ability to diminish the effects of bad past karma? So the basic principle our team feel is developed in body, virtuous behavior, mind and wisdom.
All right, thank you.
Bhante and brothers and sisters, for question D2, part 1, what can we learn about how to diminish the effects of bad karma? We find that how is by reducing bad karma, but we realize that the bad karma has been done, you can't reduce it. So the only thing you can do is probably not to create bad karma. The second thing is we understand how is to, from the stories, to increase your good actions so that they can support you. And through this is actually the principle of increasing the water and reducing the salt or not put salt at all. So that's dilution, to increase the water.
You can't reduce the salt because it's already done.
You're already done, yeah. So,
okay.
There's no such thing as reduce bad karma, we believe. So the only thing is don't create new bad karma. So that is how to prevent the bad from rising. Then how to increase the water, which is the parable of the good karma. That is to keep doing good. Because of this, increase the good to dilute. The principle is dilution. That is our take, Bhante.
So based on the first simile, is it?
Okay. We realize that when you have good karma supporting you, from the story of the sheep, for example, parable of the sheep, it seems that you have been caught stealing, but the sheep owner has to ask you, beg for you to return it or to buy it.
Compensate.
So powerful. You have such powerful supportive things supporting you, even though you've done a bad karma. So from that, example alone, we find that increasing your good karma is the direct way to dilute it. Hence the dilution principle.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
From my understanding of the passage, we have to establish certain truths. One is that bad karma has to be experienced. There's no avoidance. It has to come and it has to pass. The second understanding to have is the bad karma is to be experienced in a particular way that it was created. Not in the same way, but in a particular way how it's actually created. I have an example in my mind, but it's not directly related to something that's mentioned in the passage. If I may just share, Bhante. Let's say, or let's assume if in my past life I have created bad karma by throwing stones at others, I will get the same effect or a bad karma this lifetime by having stones thrown at me. Now, what is the way that the stone gets thrown at me depends very much on the conditions that I have accumulated for this lifetime, or the good karma that led to the dilution of the bad karma for this lifetime. Now, if I have not had enough good conditions, I might be crushed by a boulder. But if I've had good enough conditions, I will just be thrown with a small pebble, perhaps, accidentally, perhaps. That is the understanding that I have on how karma comes to be experienced and to pass. That also then explains the second point about how do we diminish bad karma by having the opportunity to live a spiritual life or having a developed body, virtuous behavior, mind, and wisdom. And that is mentioned in the sutta as an opportunity for us to make an end of suffering. Making an end of suffering, but doesn't mean that it will end the suffering. At least an opportunity to get removed from the cycle. Now, that's a very lengthy explanation for the first part. For the second part, the basic principle governing the ability to diminish the effects of bad karma, I have the benefit of Brother Henry having come up with a formula. Exactly. I'll pass the mic to him too.
This is actually primary school maths. Numerator versus denominator. MBK stands for manifestation of bad karma, present. Past bad karma is a constant factor. So whether you're a rich man or poor man, it remains unchanged. So same, but not the same, because what's the difference? It's a denominator, which you will know as, what is this? You will know. You should know. Get a clue here? Develop body, virtuous behavior, mind, and wisdom. So, the bigger this is constant, the bigger this is, what happens here? This becomes smaller. So the greater your virtues, the lesser your manifestation of bad karma. But if you have no virtue, zero. Anything divided by zero becomes infinity. So you suffer for a very long time. Thank you.
I think that sums it all. Bhante?
Thank you.
Questions,
Yes.
perhaps?
Right. He must be an engineer.
With metta.
Okay, thank you.
So the question is how do we diminish this effect of bad past karma? Page 16, page 22, all over the place, right? Mention about develop in body, virtuous behavior, mind, and obviously wisdom. So to the group, we saw this as Noble Eightfold Path because there are elements of develop in body, virtuous behavior, has sila element, the samadhi, developing the mind, and obviously the panya portion, which is wisdom. So how do you diminish? Go back to Noble Eightfold Path. Follow the path, and that's how you diminish. That's the group's suggestion. And to the second question, which is, what's basic principle governing the ability to diminish these effects, right, of especially bad karma? The two similes in the passage itself, which is the sheep as well as the money that somebody steals, right, basically tells us that karma may or may not be experienced in precisely the same way or the same manner it was created. Because there's this group who is poor and the other person is rich, right? But the effects is different. The basic principle here is we went back to the lump of salt simile, and then we took the salt as bad karma, because a lump of salt in the water itself is really salty, right? You cannot drink the water. So the first thing is don't add more salt, which means stop creating more bad karma. And then the second is add more water, and the water is basically the good karma, right? And how do you do that? You go back to the Eight Noble Path again.
Where did the Noble Path come in? Is it found in this sutta?
No, it's not explicitly said Noble Able Path, but by Bhante I mentioned that when we saw develop in body and we saw virtuous behavior, the inferences to sila.
You are jumping the gun because this will be the next question. We are trying to find out what they mean. So now you're already giving us an interpretation of what they are. Right? So now we don't know. We only know that you have to be developed in body, virtuous behavior, mind and wisdom, full stop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what this actually means will be answered in the next 2 questions. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
To diminish all our bad past karma, we have to do unlimited deeds, good deeds. And we have to develop our body, behavior, mind and wisdom in order to achieve that. So our conclusion is, let me ask a question, okay, before I conclude. Do you think you are a good person or a bad person? Or neutral?
Both.
Well, okay, if you do bad, you are definitely a bad person. If you don't do bad, are you a good person? I guess the answer is you are not a good person, but you are definitely not a bad person. So you have to do good to become a good person. So here it relates to the salt is equivalent to the bad karma, and the water is equivalent to the good karma. So in order to dilute whatever salt that you have created in the past, the more water you can create, the better. Thank you very much.
Sadhu. This is my now, Theravada.
For this question, we can divide into 2 parts. The first part is how to diminish bad past karma. From our discussion, the general one that we can think of would be do more wholesome deeds and to cultivate spiritual life through sila, which is the 5 precepts. Dana, generosity.
Wait. Where does this come from? Is it in the sutta or not?
Yes, these 2 from sutta, right?
No, where? The 5 precepts, generosity, metta
our own opinion.
Okay. This is sutta study class,
Because when we look at the question, it's like the second part that we need to support with evidence. The first part no need. Then the third one that we thought of would be bhavana, which is the mental cultivation and meditation. The second part of the question would be the basic principles. The first one is developed in body, virtuous behavior, mind and wisdom. The second one, unlimited virtues, lofty character, dwells without measure. This one refers to page 17, clause 550.
Wow.
Please answer. Then, the stories that we picked was story number 2 and story number 3 from page 18. Story 2, the analogy was the rich person. So the rich person symbolizes the person has spiritual wealth. So with this spiritual wealth, he or she can diminish any bad past karma. And from story number 3, we have the king and the rich person. So the king symbolizes influential power. while the rich is also symbolizes wealth in spiritual. Hence, they can diminish their bad past karma.
No. This one, the second simile and the third simile, what does it support? 2A or 2B? Or both?
Both.
Both, huh?
Yeah.
Then the first simile?
I'm asking my sister there.
The first simile?
In fact, first also the same, the lump of salt.
I saw the lump of salt above.
Yes. This one, when we discuss, we do talk about the lump of salt as an example.
So the lump of salt is to substantiate the answer to question 1. And the 2 is to substantiate the answer to question 2. Is that so?
Can say so.
Okay, thank you.
So this is a summary that we came out. The first question is, what can we learn? So this is what we learned. If these two persons commit the same bad karma, but this person is developed in body, virtuous behavior, mind, and wisdom, this person tend to do more wholesome deeds because of this. And this person, when the bad karma ripens, he will experience in this lifetime and will not carry forward to the second lifetime. But this person, having committed the same bad karma, but this person is undeveloped in body, virtuous behavior, mind, and wisdom. So this kind of person tend to do more unwholesome deeds. So it will lead him to hell in his second lifetime.
What will lead him to hell? This tendency to do more unwholesome deeds or the past bad karma?
Both.
Both, okay. Did the Sutta say this?
The Sutta said this. The Sutta said this and this.
The Sutta says that bad karma, the trifling bad karma, can lead him to hell. He didn't say about the present karma, the present bad karma.
Okay.
Correct?
So the principle is we have to do more good to soften the effect of bad karma. And the evidence is from the 3 simile. Then we get this.
How do you know it's good? Is there the word good found in the Sutta?
Good in this sense, we actually refers to what is considered developed in body, virtuous behavior, developed in mind, and developed in that's considered.
So you should use that instead of using the word good. Good is an extrapolation in our interpretation. What is found in the Sutta is just developed in body, just behavior, mind, and wisdom, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, just to ask one question. We know there's good karma and bad karma. Are they neutral karma?
Good karma, bad karma, neutral karma. Well, according to the commentaries, the Arahant is supposed to create what we call functional karma, which is neither wholesome nor unwholesome. So if it's not wholesome nor unwholesome, then you say it's neutral, I guess. But they didn't use the word neutral.
Bhante, I've got a question. And this relates to what is good and what is termed bad. It seems like to say something is good is a matter of opinion. And to say something is bad is also another opinion. And sometimes it's difficult to say what is good karma and what is bad karma. Because good karma in a particular situation may appear good. But given in another country, another place, another scenario, could be damaging. So sometimes it's quite difficult to say whether I'm doing good deed, I'm doing bad deed. Because that is in relation to the culture, the place, and the time. My question is, where do we go from there?
Thank you. Okay, to answer sister's question about relativity. Well, somebody said once to me that good and bad are relative. Right? But what is wholesome and what is unwholesome, or what is skillful and what is not skillful, is ultimate. So from the Buddhist point of view, what is regarded as good is anything that is motivated by non-greed, non-hatred, hatred, non-delusion. And whatever is considered bad is anything that is motivated by greed, hatred, and delusion. Very simple. Okay? But then, what is the gravity of good and bad? If you say that everything that we think, speak, and do that is motivated by greed, hatred, or delusion is bad, then all of us are doing a lot of bad things. Because a lot of times we are motivated by desire. Correct? But then the Buddha always talks about the gravity of the bad deeds that can lead to the lower realms, breaking the 5 precepts, or the 10 types of bad conduct. If you commit any of the 10 types of bad conduct, then that will lead you to hell, to the lower realms. He didn't say about anything in between, because there's such a big range of desire. There's desire, hatred, and delusion that can cause you to break the precepts or to commit any of the 10 types of bad conduct, and this will lead you to the lower realms, or can lead you to the lower realms. Whereas there are other types of thought, speech, and action which are also motivated by greed, hatred, and delusion, but does not entail breaking any of these 5 precepts, committing the 10 types of bad conduct, that will not lead you to the lower realms. But still, these are bad. Still, these are unwholesome. And as we saw in the first sutta, whatever bodily, verbal, or mental kamma that is created with unwholesome volition will bring about unpleasant results. Not necessarily in hell, but nevertheless unpleasant results. So I hope that answers your question.